The importance of awareness during sex. In this video, I'm going to be talking about awareness as it pertains to being really consciously aware of a lot of different things that are happening while you're having sex. And I'm going to talk about why that's important and how that can really improve the quality of the sex that you are having. But before I do that, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so greatly helps the channel. It helps the algorithms, and it helps people get the information that they need. Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Anthony, and I am a Certified Sexologist, Tantra Counselor, NLP Practitioner, and sex, love, and relationship coach. And for over 10 years, I have been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives. So this topic of awareness during sex is something that comes up fairly regularly in the coaching work that I do. And I thought, wow, this comes up so often that I need to do a video about it. We need to talk a little bit about awareness because it's something that both men and women struggle with in the bedroom. And it often has a rather negative effect on the sex that they have. So we want to talk a little bit about it, and then we want to figure out how can we increase our awareness. So first of all, what do I even mean by awareness? Like if I were to ask the average person, well, are you aware of what's happening when you have sex? They're like, of course I'm aware. I know exactly what's going on. But the reality is when you do coaching work like I do and you talk to people, you find out that that's not always the case. Here are some of the areas in which you want to make sure that you have a high level of awareness. The first one, so is she turned on? Is she wet enough for penetration? I cannot tell you how many times I have heard from women that, well, he just wants to stick it right in and I'm not open yet. I'm not wet yet. I'm not turned on yet. And he's just like wants to immediately go for penetration. If he had a level of awareness around that, he would understand that, okay, you haven't warmed up yet. Your vagina hasn't even lubricated yet. You're not open enough to receive a penis yet, right? So that is one area where you would need to have some awareness. How about from the ladies? I often see that, when ladies are not getting the kind of sex that they really want, when a man can't last long enough to take the ladies to their orgasm, if they start to get close to their orgasm, they just want to run with it. And they're not paying attention to the fact that he's really close to his ejaculation. He ends up ejaculating before she gets to her orgasm. She's disappointed and she doesn't realize that had she had more awareness around where he was at, how close to his edge he actually was, that she could have slowed down a little bit and then worked that, slowing down, speeding up, slowing down, speeding up. I don't even just mean in the actual speed, but in the energy. Bringing the energy level down a little bit, letting him recover, bringing that energy level back up, and working those waves until he can get into his sweet spot and stay there, and then she can let go and go into her orgasm. Is she actually enjoying what you are actually doing? So a lot of times people get lost in their own pleasure during sex. So it could be the man is just, focusing on trying to get to his ejaculation. That's one that happens a lot. Or maybe he's trying to withhold his ejaculation and he's doing one of the old tricks, count to 10 or picture Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day or, something like that where he's distracted because he's trying so hard not to ejaculate. But he doesn't have the awareness around what's actually happening with her. Again, it could be, she's not aware that a certain way that she's potentially moving is, not a good angle for his penis and is potentially going to hurt his penis, especially when she's on top. She's like, hey, I found an angle that works for me. Meanwhile, he's like, oh God, don't move a certain way or you're going to snap my penis in half, right? So there are a lot of ways in which both people can get caught up in their own search for orgasm or pleasure, and they're not aware of what's happening with the other person. The problem with that, though, is you can end up with things like, hurting their penis or ejaculating too early, or a whole range of other things that then either end the sex or make the sex unfulfilling, when if you had more awareness around what was happening, you could have made adjustments and shifted and ended up with a much more positive result. Another thing that you want to have awareness around is, are you falling into old patterns? Right? So a lot of times people get used to having sex in a certain way, going straight for the clit orgasm or going straight for the ejaculation. And you can have a tendency to sort of fall, like, let's say you've identified that pattern and you're working hard not to repeat the pattern because it leads to, an unsatisfied partner and unfulfilling sex. Well, if you're not maintaining that awareness all the time, there is a tendency to slip back into those old patterns, those old routines. And so maintaining a high level of awareness around, I notice I'm going into that pattern again. Let me shift that. Let me change direction, because that pattern has not brought me good results. So I want to shift and get away from that pattern so that I can have better results. So those are a few of the areas that you want to have more awareness. And there's more. I could create a much longer list, but the point that I wanted to really make here is that having that level of awareness when you're having sex is really important. Now, I can already hear what some people are going to say. Yeah, but that's going to put me in my head so much that I can't really enjoy the pleasure. I've heard women say, yeah, but if I'm really paying attention, then I can't just let go and, go into my orgasm. The reality is that you have to find a balance between the two. The women who just, roll their eyes back and, go straight into the open receiving and don't pay attention to where their man is at will likely end up unsatisfied because he will ejaculate too early. Obviously, the women that are too much in their head thinking all the time are never going to get to their orgasm regardless of how long he lasts, because they're too caught up in their head. So for the ladies, it's find a balance, right? Be aware, maintain your level of awareness, ride those waves between you and him back and forth. And then when you feel like he's got it, when you trust that he's in his sweet spot and he's got it, then you can let go and go off into your ecstatic bliss orgasm. It's a dance between the two. Same thing for you as a man. You want to maintain the level of awareness of, is she enjoying this? Does she have a smile on her face? Is she grimacing because it's a little uncomfortable? Are her cheeks red? Are her labia swollen? Is she lubricated? You want to be paying attention to all that without being too much in your head about it. And then once you feel like, she's satisfied, she's had her orgasms, whatever, if you want to just completely let go of all of it and just go into your orgasm and ejaculation, you can. But play with them. Don't be checked out the majority of the time. Don't focus all of your energy and attention on always being hyper aware. Find a balance and ride the waves between them. If you can do that successfully, you will have much better sex. So there you go. I hope that shed a little bit of light on what I mean about having awareness around sex. This is something I see a lot with my clients, and when we can get them to shift it, they always have a better experience in the bedroom with their partner. And if you're looking for more tips on how to have great sex, check out the playlists on this channel. I've got playlists for men, women, and couples. How to be better at sex is a great place to start. That's for both men and women. Check those out. Also listen to the Love Lab podcast. You can listen right here on YouTube. You can also listen on any podcast platform. And then lastly, go to my website, kevinandceline.com/vault, where you can get access to a free library full of resources to help you improve your sex, love, and relationship. All right, I hope you learned something in this video and that you found it valuable, and I will see you in the next one.